Once again, my superstars, how are you doing? Are you okay? Do you enjoy these lessons? Should the schools resume or we can continue with this? I will get feedback. Now, as usual, my P4 members, I love you so much. I am Saddam, and I'm here for SST as usual. And we are dealing with our second topic and people in our district. And we have now looked at the early migration. Why people of long ago migrated? And why do people of today migrate? I guess we know now. Why did they and why we do migrate? But we have to first go through activity before we can do today's work. What is migration? I expect you to have movement of migration is the movement of people from one place to another for settlement. Without the word settlement, put there a big cross. What matters? Settlement. Number 2, give 2 reasons why people migrate today. Due to job transfer, to look for better jobs, to look for better schools, to look for better hospitals, and so many others. Why did the early people migrate? They migrated because of epidemic diseases, because of famine. They were looking for fertile soil for crop growing. They were looking for water and pasture for their animals. They were looking for secure places. Question number 4, think of any 2 reasons. Think of any 2 problems that people face during their journeys. Now, in Kampala, what do we face? What problems do we face? 1 is traffic jam. 2, we have poor roads with potholes, not in Kampala, in some other places. Poor roads, said traffic jam, poor roads, accidents, and so many others. How does famine lead to migration? How does it lead to migration? People migrate in search for food. Anyone who has passed everything, wow, you are the queen of SST, you are the king of SST, and keep it up, okay? Now, we know what migration is, and a person who moves from one place to another is known as a migrant. So if you move from one place to another for settlement, you are a migrant. Now, we are going to continue with this lesson, and in today's lesson, we shall look at the different types of migration, okay? And here we have a question, types of, list any 2 types of migration. What do you know about the types of migration? Someone thinking? Okay, now we are here and we are going to go through each one of these types. Now, these types come from which place are you living and which place are you going to? And that's how we get these types of migration. Now we shall first read through and we shall explain one by one. So we have rural-urban migration, everybody. Urban-rural migration, rural-rural migration, urban-urban migration, immigration, and emigration. And those are the types of migration we have. Now, as I told you, it depends from where to where. And we shall get the 6 types of migration. Now, my P4 children, we have the first one, rural-urban. When we say rural, actually we mean village. So when I say, you boy, you are too rural, I mean you behave like a villager. Don't feel bad. It means that you behave like a villager. Don't just say rural. So when we say rural, we simply mean village. And when we say urban, we mean town. So when we say rural, what do we mean? Village, urban, town. So you people who stay in urban areas, it means that you stay in towns. Okay? Yes. Now, so when we say rural urban, we are simply saying from village to town. Now, when we have rural urban migration, what do we mean here? We mean the movement of people from villages to towns for settlement. Are we now together? Are we together? Okay, I'm repeating for one more time. When we say rural urban, we mean movement of people from villages to towns for settlement. Now, can someone define for me urban rural? So when I say I'm going to carry out urban rural migration, do you understand? Or if I say, teacher, where is the dictionary? Is that what you say? No. Now, so with urban rural, we are from town, you leave Kampala, then you go to the village. I don't know where your village is. Okay? So urban rural migration is the movement of people from towns to villages for settlement. That is urban rural migration. Now, we also have rural. Here it means that you move from one village to another for settlement. So when you say rural migration, we simply mean the movement of people from one village to another for settlement. Now, someone is going to define for me urban. Children, what is urban migration? Okay. Now, if you didn't know, urban migration is the movement of people from one town or from a town to another for settlement. Now, we have immigration and emigration. Now, these four, you move, but you are within a country. You keep on changing either from town to town, from town to village, or from village to village, or from village to... But now, there are people who migrate and they go out of the country to go and live in another country. Now, the movement of people into a country. For example, if someone is from Kenya and is coming into Uganda, the movement of people into a country for settlement is immigration. Then the movement of people out of a country to another for settlement. Here you leave your country, you go. The movement of people out of the country is emigration. Now, I will not take you very fast here. I will get enough time and I talk about these two. So don't worry. Don't say, but those two are confusing. Don't worry. They are very simple and you are going to learn. Now, what do we have in session number 2? We have rural-urban migration. Friends, we have to know the meaning. What is rural-urban migration? Movement of people from villages to towns for settlement. Wow. I have a very wonderful class where all children participate even when I cannot physically see them. Now, here we have the meaning. Rural-urban migration is the movement of people from villages to towns for settlement. Now, what causes rural-urban migration, my friends? Why did you leave your villages and you came to Kampala? They are the reasons that we need here. So I expect you to have something like this, to look for better jobs in towns. You know, the jobs in towns, someone wakes up, takes a shower, and you wear your nice suit. You go in a certain office and sit there. Even you enjoy the AC, you come back when you are very smart, as if you are not from work. So these people also want to come and enjoy such jobs in towns, okay? You find that the jobs in villages, some of them are tiresome. Like you wake up, you get your hoe, go to the garden. You go to the garden very early in the morning. So some people feel that is not, it's not a very, very good job. But I want to encourage you to get time and go and carry out farming. First of all, when you carry out farming, you are exercising your body unknowingly. So you will be fit, okay? You will not be prone of these diseases you hear of, the diabetes and so on. You are physically fit. During that process of digging, you are exercising. Are we there? You will not need to run around in the evening. So, one is to look for better jobs in towns. 2, to look for medical care, for better medical care in towns. I don't know why every good thing is in town. Good hospitals, town. Good schools, town. Good teachers, town. Everything is in town. I don't know why. I'm also going to find out. But some people come here to look for better medical services. Okay? When someone is sick, can easily get good medical services. Unlike in the villages. You find you need blood and it's not there. So what happens? Death. Now some people say, no, we don't want to die in such a way. Let's go to towns where you are sick and you can easily be taken by an ambulance and you get treatment very fast. Also to look for better education services in towns. Do I need to explain this also? In towns, we have very good schools, so that's why people come to towns. Also to escape cultural practices in villages. There are those cultural practices like circumcision is one of them, the toothing. So some people fear these activities or these functions. Now when a boy is around 10 years and he hears of circumcision, he says, oh my God, whom are you going to circumcise? And they end up in Kampala on the streets and in the ghetto, as you hear the ghetto. So some people leave villages to escape these cultural practices. I'm not meaning only only children. Even someone of 18 hears that you are going to be circumcised and he fears it a lot. So what he does to leave his village, comes to the town or gets to Kampala. Are we there? There are very many reasons as to why people leave villages to towns. I have just given you a few, but what is important here is you have to show the side. Don't just say to look for jobs. Someone will say where. So we have to say to look for better jobs in towns. Or due to low-paying jobs in villages. So since they are low-paying jobs, they have to leave villages. Are we together? To look for better medical services in towns. Or you can say people lack a good medical services in villages. Therefore, they have to migrate. Now, I am about to end my lesson, and I say, see me as I see you. Session number 3. Before session number 3, stand up, sit down. This one is very heavy. Please stand up, down, up, down. Okay, stay down. Now, think of 3 outcomes of rural-urban. What happens when people leave villages? What happens in towns? What happens in villages? We are going to see. 1, it leads to unemployment in towns. Let's spell the word unemployment. Unemployment, U-N-E-M-P-L-O-Y-M-E-N-T. Employment. This one simply means lack of jobs, shortage of jobs. Remember, we have very many jobs in towns, but people come and they become very many and they outweigh the jobs. So people will be in Kampala, in towns without jobs. 2, it causes overpopulation in towns. Then what happens to the villages? It causes depopulation in villages. Now, it also leads to development of slums in towns. I'm going to show you slums, those places where people live in a state of congestion and poverty. You go to a slum and someone can't afford even 100 coin. Some of them sleep hungry. So it leads to poor sanitation in towns since there are very many and they just dump their stuff, they litter everywhere, and the place becomes a bad place. It becomes, it also leads to high crime rate in towns. As people don't have jobs, what are they going to do to survive? They will wait for you wearing your suit in traffic jam. They come and pick your phone. Or they find you on the way, they hit you the metal, you die, they go with your wallet. Those things come as a result of the high population that is found in towns or in urban areas. So lastly, it reduces labor force in villages, and what happens? Low food production. So when all the people leave villages, time will come and we shall have terrible famine. So my P4 children, I encourage you that when you grow up, please go back to the villages and you provide labor in agriculture or in farming so that we have enough food. Now friends, it also leads to low food production since the labor is reduced in rural areas. Oh, this is what I was actually talking about. Imagine this place. Does it look like Kampala? It does, okay? All of these people left their villages and they are here because of the reasons we gave. So it is dangerous for people to leave villages because it affects the town people, the towners. It leads to high population. Then we have a slum. This is how a slum looks like. Some of you call it ghetto, but it's called a slum. A slum is simply a place where many people live in a state of poverty. They don't have money. They don't understand money language. So in such places come as a result of high population. And this happens mainly in urban areas. Now friends, poor sanitation, you can see my friends here. This place is a dumping site, but friends have gone to collect water. You can see. So this also causes for easy spread of diseases. This is my last slide, and I give you an activity. And what is it about? Problems faced by people living in Kampala or urban areas. What problems do we go through in Kampala? Do you sometimes sleep without food? Okay, I'm going to find out. 1, unemployment. No jobs due to high population. 2, shortage of land. You can imagine where your land passes. Just a smaller piece is your land. The next one is someone whose land, like that. So we have shortage of land, overpopulation in towns, development of slums in Kampala, poor sanitation, high crime rate in Kampala. When we are watching news, at least on a daily, you have to see a picture of a policeman. Why? A lot of crimes are committed, mainly in urban areas. You hardly see people committing crimes in rural areas, but in urban areas, every time there are crimes. And lastly is the spread of diseases, of course, due to high population. And lastly, high food prices. Now someone is going to say, no teacher, for us we go to Karere market and we buy, food is not expensive. My friend, something you buy at 500, when you go to rural areas, it is for 100. So in urban areas, we have high food prices, okay? Yes, now I have shown you this already. Also that, and now our lesson is about to come to an end. Now what can we do to solve some of the problems people in urban areas face? For example, high population and shortage of land. Shortage of land, what can we do? We can construct skyscrapers. Now instead of building bungalows around and you take a lot of space, we can construct skyscrapers. Some of you call them flats. These ones are the ones I'm talking about. Skyscrapers or storied buildings. We can also build more industries in rural areas. I mean, we can build more industries to create jobs for people. This will solve unemployment, and we can also encourage urban-rural migration to reduce on overpopulation. So my friends, I know it has been a long lesson, but it was a good one. I know it was an interesting lesson, and I want you to do my work carefully and you get everything right. I remain, Saddam. Stay home, stay safe. We meet the next lesson. See me as I see you. Bye-bye.